let's assume for a second, based on the discussion up till now, that a company has decided they're going into a new market. They do want to provide supplemental plans via RemoHealth and Unisure. How do they get started? If you can maybe touch on, what does the enrollment process look like and all that, and then we can get into some of the details around coverage. That'd be great.
Brilliant. Yeah. Many thanks, Dave. So when we initially started with the discussions with RemoFirst, one of the first things that really popped up is, how can you make it as seamless as possible? So we've invested quite a lot of development time and resources in getting a direct onboarding platform in place that basically enables an EOR to white label the platform itself. So the way that we approached it here is no different. There's a direct link between the Remo platform and the Unisure platform that will effectively enable employees to complete their application form electronically. There's no requirement for a PDF application form to be completed. There's no requirement for a printed copy to be scanned and sent. So the enrollment process is very simple. An employee would be redirected to our platform. They would complete the application form, including what we call a medical history. The medical history is quite important because it's from insurer perspective. We need to make sure that we know exactly what ailments the employee might have, and then also in the event of a catastrophic event where there might be evacuation required, that we know exactly what the medical history is. From there, once the application is completed, the Unisure team will then complete and review the application form, and then within 3 business days, it's normally less than that, we would distribute what we call an electronic welcoming pack. We don't do paper, so as a result, the electronic welcoming pack contains everything from your electronic membership card to the actual policy documentation. And maybe just a side note, in terms of the policy documentation, one of our approaches in the plans that we offer at Unisure is that we do away with the very complicated insurance jargon. You don't need a PhD to read the membership information. And although health insurance is not the most exciting thing in the world, the policy documentation and the way that we present the info is, as Mike would put it, a fun way. Because we also realize that not everyone is an insurance expert, and we need to make the information as digestible as possible.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Maybe as a next point, and I don't know, Mike, I know you've seen the permutations. By the way, Neil taught me that word, permutation. So I appreciate it. But could we touch on just a couple of the highlights of some of the points of coverage? I know we're not going to be able to go into a tremendous amount of detail on that, but either from Neil or Mike's perspective, anything you can share there, we'd love to touch upon.
Yeah, I will start, and then Neil can backfill with all the stuff that really excites him. And some of these bullets, we say flexibility, no network restrictions, and this is true. Very much, especially if you're coming from the U.S. perspective, it's all about network, network, network. In network, out of network. With Unisure, there is no network. You can go to any provider, which people really, really like this flexibility. It tends to be very helpful. People appreciate it, and they like the flexibility. Now, one potential challenge with that is that it is, we are, for outpatient claims, it is a reimbursement model. Now, many people, that's just fine. They will easily take that for being able to go to whatever physician they like. But if you, again, are used to the American lens of a cashless experience, that can be a bit of a pain point. Something else that's very exciting is the annual, and Neil, remind me, are we looking at a $5 million aggregate limit for each person? So yeah, go ahead, Neil.
Sorry, what I wanted to mention, and that's one of the points of flexibility that I need to maybe just highlight, is that we do have a core plan that's predominantly focused on inpatient only. That's up to $1 million, but from the second to the fourth option, that would be standard plus and premium options, your overall annual limit is $5 million.
So, let me sum what Neil just said there. Because benefits can be expensive, we've specifically designed the RemoHealth offering to have a variety of different levels of coverage. So we basically got your bare bones, you get hit by a bus and you're in the hospital and you want health care, all the way up to, again, use some American jargon, the Cadillac plan that we have available. So there should be options that are available for anyone on any budget, and then especially those individuals, depending on where they are in their journey. If you're single, we've got offerings. If it's just you and your partner, we've got offerings. If you're expecting family members, there's offerings. So, and there is optical, there's dental, there's wellness care, particularly mental health support, and a variety of other offerings that I think most people will find to be very robust. Neil, what else would you add?
Mike, I think there's an opportunity for you in Unisure with regards to how well you know the plans. But maybe just to add to that, the last thing that you want to be worried about is being admitted to hospital in a catastrophic event and thinking that you're not going to have sufficient benefits. And that's one of the main reasons why we have the very high overall annual limit, for the simple reason that why do you pay a lot of money and why do you invest into medical insurance if when you really need them, you're worried about the overall annual limit and whether you would have sufficient benefits available. And then just secondly, in terms of the flexibility, is that we realize that not all employees are the same, and as a result, their health requirements would not be the same. So you need to ensure that you offer them sufficient scope in terms of benefits, but also that they do still have the flexibility to decide in terms of, number one, what they need versus what they can afford.
That's great. Thank you both for that perspective. And then I think, also important to note that the plans, depending on the selection that the customer makes, include simple things like, optical care for vision, certainly dental care, and something that I know is extremely important to a lot of employers these days, which is the topic around wellness, right? Health obviously goes into beyond just taking care of a broken hand, but, into more being able to see psychiatrists and other type of specialists. And so some of those coverages are available through the plans as well. And then back to the point on, the cashless versus reimbursement model. I think one of the things that Unisure, I know, was really important for us in partnering with Unisure is the speed with which they respond and actually reimburse people in the event that care takes place and that reimbursement needs to occur. So I think, that's all helpful to point out. Anything else that you guys would like to add in terms of either process or coverage that we can cover for the attendees?
Maybe just the last comment from my perspective, specifically from operational side, is the fact that one of the reasons why we approach the integration, as I described a bit earlier, is for consistency. We don't want an employee in a specific country to be treated differently than an employee in a different country. So from our perspective, it's not only consistency in terms of benefits and the way that we present it, but it's also consistency in terms of the way that we service the members. So from that perspective, we ensure that you not only receive the best service, but that you receive consistent service. And maybe just in conclusion is that part and parcel of the products that we offer, it comes to the 24/7, 365 emergency assistance line. And one thing that we pride ourselves on is the fact that we really do the medical concierge, where we take care of you, where the last thing that you need to worry about is overall annual limits or how do I submit claims when I'm in hospital. You know that you have peace of mind that you have a global insurer that's there to assist you when you really need us the most.
Thank you for that, Neil. So with that, I thought that was a perfect note to end on. We are going to wrap up the discussion. I want to say from RemoFirst perspective, one of the things we believe in is freedom of work. That's the terminology that we use to describe this idea that any employer can hire any employee in any market around the world to build out an amazing global remote team. And as we've discussed today, health benefits are a key part of making sure that, one, you can attract that talent, that employee has an amazing employee experience once they are employed by our clients and by RemoFirst. And so again, we're thrilled to be partnering with Unisure on this RemoHealth offering. I can't thank Mike and Amy enough for their insights as experts in this global health space. Neil, thank you again for your partnership. So with that, I'm going to wrap up today's discussion. Thanks for those who joined us, and we hope everybody has a great rest of their day.
Thank you for inviting us.
Of course.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.